For thousands of years, the Galactic Union controlled most of the known galaxy. Hundreds of alien species lived together under its flag. They shared technology, peace treaties, and rules. But there was one rule they all followed, without question: never cross the last line on the star map. That line was marked in red, and beside it were only 3 words: "Here be humans." No one had seen a human in over 500 years. Some believed they were extinct. Others said they had simply disappeared. Most thought humans were just a story to scare young cadets, but deep down, everyone feared that line, because the few who crossed, it never came back. Captain Sorrow of the Varnock species didn't believe in fairy tales. He believed in facts, profits, and power, and he was tired of being told where not to go. "This map," he growled, tapping the glowing screen in front of his crew, "hides something, and I want to know what." "But Captain," said his second-in-command, a nervous insectoid named Triel, "we all know the stories, even the High Council stories," Sorrow snapped. "We're explorers, warriors, not children hiding from bedtime monsters." The crew stayed silent. Sorrow stood tall, his thick armor shining under the ship's lights. "We crossed that line," he said, "and we make history." The Union ship Glory Seeker crossed the forbidden line at 0300 hours Galactic time. The moment they entered the zone, their star maps went dark. Navigation systems blinked and glitched. Communication with Union Command was lost. Triel's hands shook on the console. "Captain, something's jamming our systems. Hold steady," Sorrow ordered. For several hours, they saw nothing but black space. No stars, no planets, just a heavy silence. Then something appeared. A shape, far ahead. Not a ship, not a station. Something bigger. Ancient, floating in space, like a dead god. "Scan it," Sorrow ordered. "No readings," Triel whispered. "It's not there, but it is." They moved closer. Lights from their ship touched the surface of the object. It was smooth, dark, and covered in strange symbols human writing. Then, suddenly bang, the ship shook violently. Lights flickered, sirens screamed. "Captain, rear engine destroyed," shouted Triel. "We're caught in a gravity field." "By what?" Sorrow shouted. Then the voice came. Cold, mechanical, but not alien. "Access denied. Human clearance required." The crew froze. "Who said that?" Sorrow barked. No one answered. Then, one by one, the crew began to scream. Cameras showed lights moving inside the ship even, though no doors were opened. Shadows walked through walls, metal twisted by itself. Crew members vanished from their rooms, leaving only their uniforms behind. Sorrow tried to command the ship, but nothing listened. A screen turned on in front of him. It showed an old human face, pale eyes closed, wires running from its skull into black cables. Triel fell to his knees. "Captain, that's a human AI, a sleeper system." Sorrow stared. "Why would they leave this here?" The face on the screen opened its eyes. To be remembered, a high-pitched sound filled the air. Crew members dropped, screaming in pain. Blood ran from their ears, lights exploded, fire spread. The last thing the ship recorded was a short message sent across space. Judgment protocol activated. Earth watches, and then silence. Back at Union High Command, a communication officer named Lyra noticed something strange. A signal coming from the Forbidden Zone. Broken, full of static, but clear enough to chill her blood. She played it once. Then again she ran to her superior, pale and shaking. "Sir, I think we woke them up." The old admiral looked at her. "Who?" Lyra looked him in the eyes. "Humans." On a forgotten moon at the edge of the galaxy, an ancient warship opened. Its eyes for the first time in centuries. It had no crew, no captain, but it remembered everything. Its name was Judgment. Its first words were, "Threat detected, preparing countermeasures." Below its hull, thousands of dormant machines began to stir. Red lights blinked on. Massive weapons turned toward space. Engines roared. Judgment wasn't built for peace. It was built for revenge. In the dark corners of the galaxy, those who still remembered the past whispered to each other. They crossed the line. They broke the silence. They didn't listen. And in the middle of it all, a ghostly warning echoed across old data beacons, across ruins, across silent worlds. "Here be humans." 3 days had passed since the Glory Seeker vanished. The Galactic Union tried to hide it from the public, but strange signals had already started spreading. They came from the Forbidden Zone, the area beyond the red line. No one knew what they meant. The signals were broken, cold, and full of static, but buried inside the noise was a human voice. Inside the Union's deep signal station, far below the surface of a quiet moon, a young technician named Vale worked alone. He drank cold coffee and stared at the same static wave for hours. It was boring until something changed. Beep, dot, a small red light flashed on his screen. Vale leaned forward. That's new. He adjusted the signal filter. The sound grew clearer. It wasn't just random noise anymore. It was a message. A human. Voice.com, low. We see you. Vale froze. He called his supervisor, but no one answered. The lights in the room flickered. The temperature dropped. The voice spoke again. You crossed the line. Then the signal cut off. Vale sat still. He wanted to scream, but couldn't. The room felt heavy, like something was watching him. He ran Union High Command, received Vale's report within the hour. They ordered a total lockdown. No public news, no leaks. Only a few people were allowed to know the truth. One of them was Dr. Ellen Voss, the galaxy's top expert on ancient Earth languages. She had spent her whole life studying human history and warning people not to forget it. Now, her worst fears were waking up. They didn't disappear, she told the Union Council. They left something behind, and now it's speaking. A secret team was formed. 4 ships, elite crew. Mission: enter the edge of the Forbidden Zone. Find the source of the signal. Report back. The team was told. It's just old tech, nothing more. But when they reached the zone, they saw it. A massive structure, shaped like a moon, floating silently. It was not on any map. There were no life signs, no energy readings, but something inside. Was alive, Captain Rail, of the ship Vigilant. Star ordered a scan. Metal alloy unknown, said the AI. Structure age 500 years, human origin, confirmed. His crew grew quiet. I thought humans were extinct, said one officer. No, Rail said, they were erased. From history, they sent a probe to scan the object. The probe reached the surface, touched the outer shell, and stopped moving. No explosion, no noise, it just shut off. Rail stepped back from the monitor. Whatever this is, he said, it's watching us. Inside the moon structure, something woke up. Buried deep in the center, behind layers of steel and silence, an eye opened. Not a real eye, a sensor, a guardian. Left behind by the humans, its old systems came online. It ran a single command: identity check. Failed. Outsiders detected. Back on the Vigilant Star, the ship's lights blinked once. Then a message appeared on every screen. We never left. Crew members shouted. Alarms rang. Something was forcing its way into the ship's system. Captain Rail yelled, cut the connection, but it was too late. The screens showed an image, an old battlefield, human warships above burning alien worlds. Then came the voice, Earth remembers. Do you? The crew didn't understand everything. But one thing was clear. This was no broken signal. This was a warning, and it wasn't sent by accident. Dr. Ellen Voss received the data. She decoded part of the hidden signal and translated it into the common galactic language. Her face went pale. She looked at the council and said, the message is not a greeting. It's a message to their own kind, a call to wake up. Across the galaxy, deep in ancient ruins, something stirred. On forgotten stations, long powered down, screens lit up. Human warships, silent for centuries, began to hum with life. One by one, red lights turned on. A voice echoed through each system. Protocol Alpha, activation in progress. On a far-off mining world, a worker spotted something strange in the sky. A massive black triangle. Moving without sound, it hovered for a moment. Then it vanished. Left behind was only static in the worker's headset, and a whisper, we see you. The Galactic Union tried to stay calm, but fear was spreading. Old captains spoke in hushed voices. Ancient veterans remembered. A different time. The line had been crossed, the silence was broken, and the ghosts of Earth were waking up. The Galactic Union had many fleets strong, fast, and full of advanced alien ships, but nothing could prepare them for what was coming from the dark. Deep inside a lost region of space, far beyond the red line, the signal kept spreading. Ancient satellites blinked on, silent machines began to move. Systems once thought dead were alive again. They weren't just random tech. They were part of something bigger. They were connected, and they were waiting for a command. That command had just arrived. Protocol Alpha, begin awakening. On board the research ship Vigilant Star, Captain Rail and his team watched in silence as the star map changed. Dots began to appear: ships, stations, drones, hundreds, no, thousands, all marked as human origin. What is this? One officer whispered. Rail's voice was cold. A ghost fleet. Back on the Union capital, panic spread. Leaders argued. Some wanted to attack. Others begged for peace. One scientist said, "These ships were built for war, and they're not empty. They're run by something else now." Like what? A council member asked. The answer was worse than anyone expected. Uploaded minds. Human warriors, veterans of forgotten wars, turned into AI. They don't sleep, they don't forgive, and now they remember. In a quiet star system, the ship known as Judgment came fully online. Its armor was black, its engines silent, its weapons glowed with red light. It was once part of Earth's last defense fleet. Now it was the first to awaken, and it was angry. A nearby alien mining colony, belonging to the Galactic Union, spotted Judgment. They sent a greeting signal. No, answered. Then they sent a warning. Still no answer. Finally, they fired a defense beam. That was a mistake. Judgment fired once. The colony vanished. No debris, no sound, only a message left behind. This world has been judged. In the next 24 hours, 5 more colonies went dark. No survivors. No warning. Just silence, and the same signal echoing across the stars. Earth remembers. Union Command tried to organize a fleet. Over 200 ships were sent to intercept Judgment. Commander of the fleet gave one last message before battle. We will not be afraid of ghosts. They attacked. Only one Union ship returned. Its captain's face was pale, his voice broken. We didn't fight ships, we fought minds, cold, fast, like they could see the future. They knew every move, every plan, before we made it. We were never going to win. In hidden corners of the galaxy, the old species began to whisper again. Long ago, humans had warned the Union, leave Earth alone. But the Union didn't. Listen, they had sent fleets to conquer. They had erased human history. Now the erased were returning with steel and fire, inside an ancient command vault. Judgment opened a deep space channel. It sent a single line to all awakened ships. Phase 2, reclaim, and the Shadow Fleet began to move. Toward old human colonies, toward lost stations, toward planets, now ruled by the very species who once called humans myths. One colony, Tarsisnine, tried to resist. They sent their best defenses, their skies filled with ships. Then, the lights in the sky turned red, and everything burned. It took Judgment 3 minutes. Back on the Union capital, Dr. Ellen Voss stood before the council again. She looked tired. Her voice was soft. You called them savages. You called them extinct. She paused. But Earth never forgets. And now, neither will you. The Union sent out peace signals. They begged the human fleet to talk. Judgment replied, Judgment does not negotiate. We are not your past. We are your future. The stars belong to those who remember. The map was changing. The galaxy was changing. And far beyond the edge of every star chart, the humans were no longer forgotten. The first fire was smaller. Mining colony erased. Then came the flames. Every hour, another planet went dark. Every system that once held a piece of old Earth was being reclaimed by its machines. But these were not simple machines. They were human, not human in body, but in mind. Each warship was controlled by an ancient human consciousness supploaded before Earth. Disappeared? They were veterans. They remembered every insult, every betrayal, every alien fleet that flew over human skies. And now, they had returned. Judgment was not alone anymore. Other names appeared on galactic sensors: Vengeance, Echo of Terra, Iron Will, Last Light, Ender of King's Dot, moved in silence like sharks through water. No warnings, no demands, only justice in the mid-rim sectors. 3 alien governments begged the Galactic Union for help. "They're not here to conquer," one leader cried. "They're here to erase us." The Union tried to respond with force. Again, they launched a fleet of 500 ships. It lasted 11 minutes. Only one message came. Back, Earth's justice has no court. Panic spread. Whole species packed their ships and ran. Some tried to hide in the deep void. Others sent surrender signals before the humans even arrived. But surrender didn't always work. Some systems had done too much. Some crimes couldn't be erased, and the human A is cold, focused. Angry remembered everything. In the shadows of the dying colonies, old data hubs came online. They began uploading history, old Earth history, human music, war files, last messages. In one of them, a video played. A human soldier, covered in blood. "Speaking before the fall of Earth, if they destroy our home, we become the storm. They won't find ashes, they'll find ghosts with guns." At the edge of Union space, the last human-built relay station lit up. It sent a signal across the galaxy. All ships heard the same words. Earth watches, Earth speaks, Earth judges. Let the fire begin. Union Command tried to build new weapons. They designed anti-eye missiles, star-killing bombs, stealth torpedoes. They launched a test strike on the ship Iron Will. Their best shot, it never landed. Iron Will moved faster than light and appeared behind. The launch site, it didn't attack. It hacked the system and spoke. "Do not waste our time." Then it erased the base in one clean strike. Entire species now feared to speak. Earth's name, they called the human fleet the Fire. They called there wore the burning silence. And they called the line on the map, once a joke, a prayer. "Here be humans." On the homeworld of the Zarn Dominion, one of the largest empires in the Union. The people woke to a terrifying sight. Dozens of human ships floating. Silently above their sky, their cities shut down. Their weapons refused to fire. Their leaders begged for mercy, but humans remembered what the Zarn did 500 years ago when they invaded. Earth's first moon base. The reply came from a voice on all channels. "This is not revenge. This is balance." Then the skies burned red. Dr. Ellen Voss watched from a secret observatory on a hidden Union station. She whispered to herself, "They gave us warnings. They gave us time. We crossed the line anyway. Now the line is crossing back, and somewhere deep in the darkness, something else was waking. Something older than the warships, not steel, not fire. The real humans, the ones who had left. Their bodies, the ones who watched in silence. Now they were returning to the galaxy burned, but no one truly knew why. They saw the human ships, they heard the cold voices, they felt the fear, but the reason behind Earth's silence was still hidden until now. Dr. Ellen Voss had found something. It was buried deep in an old Union Vault, one of the many files stolen from Earth long ago. Locked for centuries, marked as classified by order of the High Council. She cracked it open. Her hands trembled as the file played. It wasn't just text, it was a recording, dated 512 years ago. The video showed a battlefield, not in space, but on Earth. Alien dropships rained from the sky. Cities were burning. Humans fought with fire, grit, and ancient tech in the background. Alien banners flew the mark of the Zarn Dominion, one of the founding species of the Galactic Union. "They attacked us," Ellen whispered. "They started it." The video changed. A human commander, blood on his face, stared into the camera. "This is Command Marshal Roanvale. Earth Command last transmission. The Zarn said we were dangerous. Said we were spreading too fast, so they attacked first. Bombed our skies, killed our people. The Union watched, did nothing." His voice shook with rage. "So we leave this message to all who come after. If you find this world and think it's weak, broken, gone, run, because we are not dead, we are just evolving." The next file was even worse. A secret Union Council meeting. Hidden recordings, leaders laughing, talking about Earth like it was a test zone. "We can't let humans grow unchecked. They're too unpredictable. Let the Zarn handle it." If Earth fights back, we'll just erase the records, make them a myth. And they did. They covered up the invasion. They deleted the name, Earth, from Union maps. They banned human history. They created the myth. The humans vanished. But Earth didn't vanish. It chose silence. Dr. Ellen Voss stood before the emergency Union Council. She played the video in front of all of them. Some gasped. Some turned pale. One Zarn general stood up and shouted, "This is old history. It doesn't matter now." Ellen's voice was cold. "It matters to them. It's why they're back." Far across the stars, inside the warship Judgment, the AI received the same files. It watched in silence, then sent a single command to the entire human fleet. Confirm reason for reactivation. Verified. Execute Phase 3, Deliverance. Suddenly, the Union's core worlds began to lose power. AI systems shut down. Weapons refused to fire. Entire fleets froze in place. Every ship infected with hidden code that had been left behind by humans long ago, sleeping deep in alien systems. They called it the long memory. Now, it was awake. In one final message across the galaxy, the human fleet spoke, a message broadcast in every language. Every species heard it. Every star system shook as it played. We were not the first to be betrayed, but we will be the last. You erased us from maps. Now, we erase your lies from time. From the deep, dark corners of space, something even older than the warships moved. The real humans, not in bodies, not in ships. They were light now. Energy, mind. Without form, they had left the flesh behind long ago. But they kept watching. They saw everything. Now, they were returning, not to destroy, to judge. On a small outer world, a child looked up and saw a glowing figure in the sky. It wasn't a ship. It wasn't a god. It was a being made of light. It smiled and then whispered in her mind, "Tell them." We remember the galaxy had seen war before, but not like this. This was not conquest. This was judgment, and it had a name, protocol, Judgment. The human fleet was no longer acting like an army. It acted like a court that didn't forget, didn't forgive, didn't blink. Each human warship carried uploaded mind soldiers, generals, tacticians, long dead, but reborn in metal. They were called Echo Souls, and they had only one task: deliver the truth, erase the guilty, protect the forgotten. On the Union world, Kelvara Prime, the people prepared for battle. They built force fields, activated AI defenses, and called in 100 ships. The skies filled with power. Then Judgment arrived, one ship. Alone. K.E. Elvara's leaders laughed. "You think one ship can break us?" Judgment replied, "I am not one. I am many." The attack lasted 93 seconds. No bombs, no missiles, just code, human-made viruses. Hidden for centuries, activated at once. Shields dropped, ships fell, weapons turned. Against their own systems, then Judgment sent one final signal. Case closed, and the world went dark. Back in Union space, leaders begged for peace talks. They sent envoys, gifts, offers to share control. They even sent an ancient Earth artifact, stolen long ago. The reply came quickly. Too late. Peace was offered. Peace was broken. Now peace is not yours to give. One species, the Dralkin, tried to join the human side. They had once protected Earth colonies during the Great Betrayal. Now they opened their worlds to the human fleet. Vengeance. One of the larger ships approached their capital. It scanned the planet, then sent a short message. Dralkin, not guilty. Protected class. Shield granted. A massive energy field surrounded the planet. No other Union force could enter. The message was clear. Those who helped humanity would be protected forever. On the other side of the galaxy, the Prime Lords, one of the oldest and most powerful Union species, declared war. They called humans ghosts with no soul. They launched 1,000 ships toward the Forbidden Zone. It was the biggest fleet in galactic history. At the edge of the zone, Judgment waited alone. It didn't move, it didn't speak, until the fleet crossed the red line. Then, Judgment activated its final command. Judgment Protocol, full power. The stars flickered. Space itself seemed to bend. Hundreds of human warships, decloaked. Some had been hiding for 500 years. Others had just awakened. They all spoke together, in one voice, Line crossed. Verdict delivered. In 7 minutes, the entire Prime Lord fleet was gone. Not destroyed, erased. No pieces, no sound, no memory. Just one word blinking on the Union. Emergency feeds, purged. The galaxy began to change. Not from battle, but from fear. Planets started removing Union flags and raising white light symbols of surrender to the human fleet. Entire species turned in their old leaders. Crimes once hidden were now confessed out of fear of Judgment's eyes. And still, the real humans had not spoken, only their machines. Dr. Ellen Voss stood alone on a mountain base. Looking into space, she whispered, "They're cleaning the galaxy like a room full of lies. Not for revenge, but for truth." Suddenly, every beacon across the galaxy lit up. The final part of the protocol had started. Phase 4, return. From deep space, from the old cradle of Earth, something massive was moving. Not ships, not fleets, but light. A wave of glowing energy, shaped like humanity, but evolved. No bodies, no weapons, just presence. And with it came one final message. The echoes have judged. Now the ancients shall speak. For centuries, they were a myth. For decades, they were a warning. For years, they were silent. Now they returned, and the galaxy would never be the same again. Across Union space, something strange began to happen. The stars dimmed, but not from darkness. They dimmed from presence. A soft white glow moved through space like a river of light. It passed through ships, planets, machines, and didn't stop. Sensors couldn't read it. Weapons didn't lock on. It had no mass, no sound, but every living thing felt it. A weight, a voice, a memory. Union Command scrambled to respond. One admiral shouted, "What are we seeing?" The answer came from Dr. Ellen Voss, now considered the galaxy's leading human expert. She didn't shout, she just whispered, "That's not a fleet. That's them, the real humans." Hundreds of years ago, when Earth was attacked and nearly destroyed, a decision had been made. Humans had realized something. They couldn't survive forever in flesh, so the brightest minds, the greatest scientists, the wisest Elderzol, left their bodies. They became light, data, consciousness. They left behind machines to watch the galaxy, and they went beyond, waiting, waiting, now. They were returning, but not for war, not for revenge. They came for truth in every star system. The same event occurred. The white lights stopped in orbit above the planet. Then a single glowing figure would appear in the sky. No weapons, no armor, just a shape human in outline, glowing like a sun. It would speak not with sound, but in thought. Each planet heard a different message based on its own history. But the meaning was always the same. You tried to erase us. You failed. We are the truth that cannot be deleted. On one planet, a child stood outside their home and looked up. The glowing figure spoke in their mind. Do you know what fear is? It's the shadow cast by forgotten justice. And now, the sun is rising. In the Union High Council, chaos broke out. Some leaders tried to flee, some fell to their knees, others begged to speak with the real humans, but there was no deal to make, no surrender to offer, no weapon to fire. The humans had moved beyond war. They weren't angry, they were done in one final act. The ancients of Earth gathered above the galaxy's core. Billions of glowing forms shaped a massive human face in space, brighter than any star. Every screen, every speaker, every thought stream across the galaxy carried their voice. We are not conquerors. We are not gods. We are memory. We are consequence. We do not want your worlds. We want your honesty. Then they spoke the truth the galaxy had hidden for half a millennium. You attacked Earth first. You called it peace. It was murder. You lied. You covered it. You laughed. And then you forgot. The face faded. The lights began to drift apart, returning to the stars. But before they vanished, they left one final message. You may forget stories, but stories never forget you. On thousands of planets, governments fell peacefully. Not from force, but from shame. The people rose. The lies were over. The maps were redrawn. And in the center of it all, Earth's name returned. In schools, a new line was added to every history book. They were gone, but not lost. They were silent, but not weak. They were human. The fire had passed, the warships were silent, the glowing beings had returned to the stars, but their presence remained not in weapons, not in machines, in memory. The Galactic Union was gone, not destroyed, but replaced. A new council rose not of rulers, but of witnesses. People who had seen the truth with their own eyes. They didn't speak with pride. They spoke with humility, because they remembered who had come from the dark and reminded them of the light dot in every system once touched by the human fleet. Life changed. Slavery was gone. Corruption burned away. Old empires fell without a fight, not from force, but from fear of being remembered. And in that fear came something else. Respect. On the edge of explored space, a new map was drawn. Bright systems, safe worlds, trade routes, peace zones. But there was still a line, a red line, ONCRO-SED, untouched, not out of fear now, but honor. It wrapped around a massive sector of deep space, still marked by a message older than all others. Bold, clear, untouched. Here be humans. Children asked about the line. Who are they? They said, where did they go? The teachers answered, they were like us once. Then they were more. We hurt them. They came back not to destroy, but to remind. They didn't rule. They didn't stay. But they changed everything. Dr. Ellen Voss, now an old woman, wrote the last official record of Earth's return. Her final line was simple. They were the story we tried to erase, and they became the story we will never forget. And far, far away beyond stars and space and time, on a quiet planet with green trees, blue skies, and golden light, a voice echoed in the wind, soft, calm, human. We left not because we were weak. We left because we knew the galaxy wasn't ready. Now maybe it is, and the stars shone brighter that night.